Hey, how's it going? I got a question, and if it's too personal of a question, don't answer. But if you want to answer, let me know down in the comments. Do you remember your first time? I know I do. And I'm going to tell you about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I know it has been a minute. I recorded. I was all set. Had a couple of videos recorded last weekend. Sat down and started editing. No audio. No audio on the helmet. I didn't feel like doing a voiceover because, to be honest with you, it just wouldn't have looked right. I had my wife wired in. You would have heard her talking, but it just wouldn't have synced up right. So we're trying again. She is not with me. It is 98 degrees out right now. I waited for a little bit later in the evening for it to cool down from the 102 that it was. It's hot. Also, the last few weeks I haven't been in exactly the greatest state of mind. Work and just some stuff going on. Cows, but it'll work itself out, and we'll be better for it. Better for it? We'll be better. So my question, do you remember your first time? And I'm not trying to be that personal, that kind of personal first time. I'm talking about your first time on something with two wheels and an engine. Something that, you know, whether you were just a wee lad or you started riding to get more serious about it later in life. Your first time. That's what I want to tell you about. My first time. And whether it counts or not, I don't know. You guys can make up that decision, but I think it counts. Now, my recollection is somewhat fuzzy of the whole deal. I wish my grandfather was still alive. I'd really love to talk to him about it again. So I was young. So I guess kind of setting the stage. My grandfather, he had a farm in Ionia, Michigan. Not a big one. I think it was like 85 acres. That he ran. At the same time, he was also a millwright at General Motors in Lansing. So he had a pretty sweet tool shed set up. He had tractors, barns, silos. You know, it was a small farm. But by the time we came along, we being, you know, my brother, myself, my cousins, he wasn't really, there weren't any animals anymore, but he still had the land. The land was being leased out, so it was still being farmed. But we had stuff. I mean, there was a lot of land, at least in my eyes, to play around on. So at some point, and this is where I get kind of fuzzy on my age. I don't know. I wasn't very old. I'm thinking maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a big range, but not very old. But I do remember there being an old mini bike, just a frame, big tires, handlebars, you know, Briggs & Stratton engine, pull start, no gears, actually no brake, no brakes on the handlebars. This brake was essentially a plate, so you hit a pedal, the plate would just push against the back tire, and that was your brake. So I mean, being we were able to ride. He had little tractors, and we were able to ride stuff. I mean, we just, that was what we did. We got to their farm, and we just went outside, played. We didn't have all these video games and crap that the kids have today. We just spent time out in the tool shed of the grandpa doing whatever. So we, at some point, put together this mini bike and got it running. So I wish I could find a picture of this place. So imagine a farmhouse, trees in the front yard, kind of the side yard, big backyard, but barns, and then just fields all around. This thing, when we started it up, the throttle was stuck. Wide open. You know, nowadays, being as old as I am, riding on that thing probably wouldn't have been a big deal with the wide open throttle because it wasn't very big. But I do remember being excited because my grandfather was going to let me ride this thing. I don't know where my parents were. I know there was a period of time where we were in transition of houses, so there was weekends where my brother and I would stay with them while my parents were shopping for houses. So it could very well have been one of those times. I remember having my legs over this thing. He was holding it up. I had my feet on there, on the pegs. I knew how to work the brake. We've gone over all this. I knew how to work the throttle, but the throttle didn't work. I knew how to ride a bike. So the concept of balance was not new to me. How to steer. We fire this thing up. Gets me pointed in a direction. A direction. Ready, set, go. He lets off the brake, and I go right into a tree. Right into a tree. Now this wasn't just a small like boom and then stop tree. It was a decent sized tree that had a nice little ramp to it, so it was more of a up and then down. And I had a little, you know, couple scratches and little bruises on my leg, and I recall my grandfather kind of chuckling that maybe I should have pointed you in the direction of the field, because I think in his mind, this kid knows how to ride a bike. He'll know that, you know, there's a little obstacle avoidance that has to happen sometimes when you're riding a bike. Not me. God, maybe it was the adrenaline, maybe it was just the excitement. I mean, I'd never been on a vehicle like that before. I rode that thing all over the place. It didn't deter me. So that is my story. If you guys could do me a favor, leave me a comment down below. Let me know. Do you remember your first time? What were you excited? I mean, nervous? I mean, what did you do? Was it later in life? Was it when you were just a young kid? I'm curious. I'm interested in hearing what you where you started. You know, where you first got bit by that bug. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna kind of tool around. I haven't been back this way before. Not even sure where I am. Fortunately, I have a phone and GPS. We'll find our way home. So have a great night, everybody. Hope everybody's staying cool. Ride safe. And we'll catch you on the next one. So long.